Today we're going to look at some haul items and you're going to see what $69 will make us. Hey, it's Don. Today we've got some haul items. I've been to several pickers lately. Safe, masks, the whole works. Only going to one single stop. I got some pretty interesting items. Stuff that should make me some very good money. Now I've got $69 invested into what I've got here. So let's just start off with something that I thought was really neat. This is a Fossil Star Trek watch. And it's a limited edition. It only has so many of these that were made. Actually inside of a Star Trek shaped, I guess, emblem you would call it. And it's the Enterprise, as you can see. It has all the tags, NOS. I think it does need a battery, but I've got a whole pack of them that I actually bought sourcing. So for like 10 cents, I can throw a battery in here. I've got all the tools. It's something you can do at your own house. I wouldn't recommend paying somebody to swap out a battery in something like this. Again, something like this here, the original price, it looks like $95 on the back. These are running around $45 to $50 without the box. I only saw one or two with the boxes and they were much higher. Now it is missing a piece of styrofoam, but it has the box. So I'm thinking 65 or 70 bucks back out of this. This one item will return pretty much everything I spent on the whole lot you're going to see here. But excellent item here. So I'm not going to break down the individual prices on everything. I pretty much put stuff together as a lot, and we went from there. So altogether, it's $69 and everything you're going to see. Some items I'm just going to share on our Patreon page. We're going to look at some details on how to figure out classical on Patreon, but I'm going to show you a ton of records that we got today, some high dollar value ones. I got 50 cents in each one of the records I'm going to show you as well, too. Now, this is a Buddy L bank. Now, I hadn't seen one of these before, and I had to look it up, and I still couldn't find one like this. There's a armored car that goes for a lot of money and some other vehicles. Now, bottom end, I'm guessing 35 bucks or better. This is a hot rod. You can see the slot where the coins or bills would go into. It looks like you'd actually have to pry it apart or maybe slide this off, maybe it looks like. Yeah, I bet you this slides out somehow. To see what's inside this thing. So there's nothing in it, but it has real rubber tires or plastic tires. It's rollable. It actually moves and the whole works. I'm at least going to figure 35 bucks to probably 65 or 70. Again, there's nothing like this. I couldn't find anything on Terapeak or anything else like that for at least the past year or so. Anyway, nice pickup here. Now, this is some of the jewelry that I got, too. Now, I'm just going to share two pieces on here. The rest we're going to go into details on in Patreon. So, 69 bucks. This piece right here, and I don't know how well this is going to show off in there, but it's actually marked 14 karat gold on the back of this. It's a 1/4 of an ounce of 14 karat gold. Again, 69 bucks for everything. Now, I did just a rough calculation. There's over $200 in scrap gold value on this one item right here. And this is the sort of thing that most people miss. Now, it's really worn down, and I had to take a loop to it, but it's most definitely gold. It's marked gold in the whole works. So if you're not careful, you can miss stuff like this. Now, I got a video going to a jeweler, and I get questions all the time. Where do I find the gold at? Perfect example right here. Now, I also have a piece of a broken ring that's 14 karat, and these came in there as well, too. Now, these are a pair of vintage cufflinks, but they're marked very well on the back. They're actually gold-faced. There is like a Mexican-style coin in the center, and it's raised up, so it's a pretty good chunk of it, I would gather. That center in there is 10 karat gold. It's marked as such on the back, and then it's $9.50 sterling silver, and it's signed by the artist that created it in several different spots, as well as having some touch marks on the back. Now, stuff like this, gold and silver, I'm going to estimate at least 75 bucks or better on something like this. Now, if this turns out that it's somebody very well known, the value could go up even higher, but it's very well marked. The rest of the jewelry I'm going to show and we're going to discuss in a Patreon video, as I want to go into detail on this. There's some designer name brands in there that I always look for, and some that I've talked about, including a complete set from the 50s, earrings, necklace, and bracelet as well. Very, very fine quality stuff. Let's look at some records now, though, because records I do love. Now, I have some videos about employee merchandise and things like that, advertising pieces from local businesses and things like that. That's what this is as well. This is a Christmas record from Libby Owens Ford, which is a local company. They still have many facilities still in this general area as well. Something that's part of the city. The city that this is from, Toledo, is known as the Glass City, the glass capital of the world, or it was at one time. Lionel Barrymore is narrating Christmas stories in here, and this is something I turn up locally quite often. Now on these, I usually put them up for around 30 bucks and take 15 to 25 bucks a pop for them. Again, something collectible, something I run into in this general area all the time, so it pays to know what to look for. This is a 10-inch 33. This is not a 78. This is the earliest version of a LP. Now this is a Vogue disc, Vogue 10-inch LP. This was produced in Italy. I'm putting $37.50 on it. This should sell for 20 to 25 bucks without a doubt. Oddball items like this I do extremely well in, especially when there's only a few items to even check the history on. It's going to take the right person. It'll sit for a little while, but it will sell. Here's another interesting set. Now, this one was probably passed up by many different people because it's actually missing one of the records in there, as you can see. I'm fine with that. I'm just going to sell it just as it is. This is Rex Humbard, which is a minister from probably the late 30s, 40s, and into the 50s. And it's a Western-style gospel, Southern gospel. Now, just these two discs in here, I could probably get 20 or 25 bucks a piece for. I'm figuring with the sleeve, with the album folder, again, these are 78s here. This is what would be an album back then. I might get close to 75 bucks. This is probably extremely rare. I've never seen one. It's from Sacred, which is a label you just don't see very often with good stuff on it. Usually it's just regular gospel that it carries no, big value. But these Western ones I do extremely well on. So, and again, 69 bucks into everything. Now I'm just going to flip through a few here. This is Tommy by The Who. Price-wise on this, I'm putting 45 on it. Something a lot of people miss. It's a trifold, but if you look in here, usually there should be a booklet in there, and this does have it. Without the booklet, you can probably deduct 20 bucks from what you'd get for it. But it's a multi-page booklet with the words and the whole works from the rock opera. So, excellent example here with the booklet, 45 bucks. We'll just flip through some here. Rush, 24 bucks on that one. ELO, this has the shrink wrap on it, just as it should. Somebody's opened it, and it's a cutout. And a cutout means that it's like on discount, and they slice it up. A saw or something comes in and saws a whole stack of these with a little divot out. That way it can't be returned. Anybody in their right mind, taking this back, they're going to know it's a cutout, and it was probably no returns at the end of the day. Nothing wrong with them. Now, there's supposed to be a poster and like a standee that makes this spaceship that will stand up, a cardboard-like cutout pop-up almost. Those are gone. If those were in here, I'd get more. 20 bucks as it is. I've got 1984, big David Lee Roth fan here. Met him once in person. Excellent album. 24 bucks I should get out of that one. 51.50 with the hype sticker. Now the hype sticker is the sticker that's on the cellophane that's gone the minute you rip the cellophane off. This has the cello. Price-wise, right at 50 bucks I'm going to put on it. I should take home at least 40, 45 bucks I'm figuring on this one. It looks like it's never been played. Excellent example there. Now here's a Kansas. You should know this one as well. It came out in the 70s, late 70s. 24 bucks in the cellophane as well. Now we're going to go into some oddball ones here. This is a Mel Tillis. He autographed it right there on the cover. We're putting $39.99 on this one here. I should get 25 or 30 bucks because of the autograph. Something I always look for whenever I find records and there's stuff that's oddball and stuff, I always start looking for autographs on them. I run into them fairly often. Now here's Moody Blues, Days of Future Past. Now the cover on this is like a flexible one, so I instantly knew it's an import on this one. This is the 1967 German edition of this. This is on a Taldeck disc. Not super, super rare. Price-wise, 15 bucks or so. Still plays like new. It looks like it's never been touched. Now, I do mess with soundtracks, the Boatniks. I remember this movie. It used to play in the drive-in when I was a kid. 15 bucks in the Disney section here. It's a gatefold, meaning it opens up. It also has a book, which most Disney do of this type. It's on Disneyland Records as well. Excellent one. It's going to sell. So again, I'm only buying ones that won't sit super long unless they're like the scarce 10-inchers like that. Now this is Eiji Kitamura. This is a Japanese modern-day swing band director. Excellent stuff. These go for around 75 bucks. This is by Toshiba. This is an original Toshiba pressing. As you can see, it's in stereo. It's the black Toshiba label. It's an original Audio Technica. It's excellent example here. 75 bucks, easy on that one. That would probably be what that will sell for. Minstrel Man, this is 100% Oasis, local country. This is a private press. Only pressed a few hundred of these, 5750 range. Now here's Lawrence Lane. He's a bluegrass performer. This is another private Ohio pressed one, 5750. This one should do very, very well. One other thing too on that 100% Oasis, it's actually autographed by the entire band on the back of it. So interesting there. I always look for that sort of thing. Rolling Stones, 1750. Rolling Stones here again, 20 bucks basically on that one. Fats Domino, 1850 on this one. This is a newer version, of course. Now here's an original Fats Domino, 75 bucks. This is on Imperial. This is from the late 50s. Excellent condition. This is a micro groove original. Prime Fats Domino piece here. 75 bucks, as I said. This is a modern French version, 30 bucks basically. Now here's another one that I used to find all the time when I lived in Florida. I haven't found one in a little while. Now this is the Main Street Electrical Parade, the Electric Light Parade, which they've retired, this original one, while I was working there actually. But 40 bucks on these. These are pretty much snagged up pretty quickly. It's just like the Pirates of the Caribbean. Those sell like mad when you put them up. This is an easy 30 bucks or better. This is Arthur Honegger. This is an opera. It's a 2-disc set. Still has the cello, near mint condition, 1850. The Smith-Glaman Quartet. Again, this is on a Bethlehem label. These are fairly scarce to run across any of these. They don't go for a ton of money. I'll be lucky if I get 25 bucks out of it, but still, 20 quick bucks is fine for something like that. Judy Garland, A Star is Born. New movie was out, so these are going again. 1750. I buy all of these. People will frame this right here. It's clean enough cover to frame with the face on it. So Jackson 5. Now this is another cutout. You can see it right there. Again, they didn't sell them, so they cut them out and they put them in the discount section. This is an original. It has the original inner sleeve, has the red star for Detroit, the whole works. Pretty good LP as well. Glass Harp. Now this is a local group, if I'm not mistaken. It's Psych Fuzz. 45 bucks on this one here. This one should have no problem selling at that. It's an original pressing. Now here's a really nice Vanilla Fudge. This is a classic here if you don't know it. Fuzz, Psychedelic Rock. Illusions of My Childhood, You Keep Me Hanging Out. I mean, it's got a lot of good stuff on here. Eleanor Rigby. Bang Bang, 37.50 in that range. I'll probably at least get 30. Now some of these earlier ones like this, the mono version is the first pressing, so the mono version can go for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times what some of these can go for in many cases. As long as it's the first one with the right metrics on them. So excellent example there. Now I talk about knowing your characters. This is a Hanna-Barbera LP from the Huckleberry Hound Kellogg's TV show. They're not worth a ton of money. It's split at the bottom and stuff, but still, it's a quick 10, 15 bucks without an issue. People will frame this, put it on their wall or something like that, as long as the cover is clean. Now here's the Plastic Ono Band in Toronto from 1969. John Lennon, of course, is in this. 1750. It's not a super well-collected disc. I'm not a big fan of the record itself, but it sells. So, you know, it would be a quick 12, 15 bucks, no problem. Now here's an Elvis in a shrink wrap. About 20 bucks on this one, just because it's near mint, looks unplayed. Katharine Hepburn, Coco. This is another soundtrack. It'll be a quick 10 bucks, just because she's in it. It's got a lot of pictures, and it has a lot of nice, interesting artwork inside too. These always sell. It'll sit for a little while, but I'll definitely get 10 bucks out of it. Now here's a private press from Puerto Rico, Fernandez Deza, and this is something I would say is fairly scarce. He actually autographed it right there as well. I have nothing to compare it to. I know it's a private press. I know they probably only pressed a few hundred of these. Now I'm going to put 95 on this. I wouldn't doubt that I might get that for it just because of scarcity alone. Now I've got some classical opera too that I will go over in Patreon for those in Patreon, but this is a typical lot of records and what I would look for on any given day. I'm not as big into LPs anymore. LPs have died, at least the vintage ones, because of all the new ones that are being pressed. But if you get a good one, something scarce or something well sought after, whether it's rare or not, they still do sell fairly well. So this stack that I just showed you represents stuff that should move quicker than most others. I don't try to hold on to tons of LPs anymore, unless, again, they're new ones, they're specialty or something like that. We've got thousands upon thousands upon thousands of them, but again, it's a selective category that we're into in these. They got to be in near mint condition or something VG plus or better that's really scarce to even interest me enough. And what I just showed you, even though some of them go down to 10 bucks, it'll be a quick turnover on those $10 ones. I wouldn't buy a record if, say, that $10 may not come for a year or two. It's just not worth holding on to, and the space and the weight and everything else. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some ideas and some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
A bounce basketball game inside alphabets. Put it together and
shoot. My turn. You'll never make it. Beautiful.
One inside each specially marked box of post alphabets.